Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Sean McCone and David Reese here, your lending partners here at New Res and Partners United Financial. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We wanted to reach out to you and kind of give you a brief update on the market, and then also to see if we can find some positives in the market today, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, rates have increased a lot from this time last year. This time last year we were about 3.5%, and now we're pushing 7%. So, when you entered the market, what was the interest rate when you started the business?
My first loan that I wrote was 2.25%.
Okay, well, mine was 9.5, and then the very next year it was 12. So, historically, when we look at interest rates, interest rates are, right at about the historical average. The average is 5.75 over the last 30 years. So we're not too high.
Yeah. So really, we're about one percentage point higher than what the average has been the last 30 years. So, well, with that being said, though, some of the positives those that we've seen come into the market, though, David, is we've actually had a couple customers be able to take advantage of some seller concessions as the market has seemed to kind of steer more towards the buyer side over the last couple months. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's helping people get in. Now they don't have to have their down payment and a closing costs and a possible appraisal gap. So they're getting in with maybe 5%, 3.5%, and having the seller pay their closing costs for them.
Which 18 months ago, we probably wouldn't have been able to see that. I know specifically one customer that we've had recently was able to get all their closing costs paid for. Also had some substantial repairs that were covered by the seller, where all they had to come to the table was just their down payment. Whereas 18 months ago, they probably would have had to pay for closing costs, all those repairs, their down payment, and then hopefully they didn't get into a bidding war where they needed probably another 20 or 30 grand in order to buy the house. So we've also, with that being said too, is we've also seen kind of a newer buyer come into the market a little bit too. It seemed like last summer it was cash or conventional is typically all you got. So
right now we're seeing a ton of the government. So VA 0% down, FHA 3.5% down, even the conventionals were 3% down. So we're seeing some sideline buyers finally entering the market and having the opportunity to have their offers accepted. So before that, those offers were being thrown at the bottom of the pile.
Right, awesome. We've also seen too is obviously when the market shifts a little bit, you're going to have a little bit of hesitancy from the other side, the seller side of it too. What we have been able to see though is with houses staying on a little bit longer than a week than what they were, we have seen where some of the sellers are taking advantage and trying to make their offers or their houses a little bit more.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, so instead of just lowering the sales price of the home, saying, well, we didn't get any activity, let's lower it. Right now they can do a temporary buy down where they can provide funds for the buyer so their payment can be at an interest rate 2% below for the first year and then 1% after that. So it's a great opportunity, a great incentive. I remember in the 90s, builders used that tool all the time to help move their properties.
Right. Yeah, I think, with this market right now, going to a little bit more buyers, interest rates are a little bit higher, but with the buy down that you're talking about, potentially gets them in with a lower payment at first. And then also too, in 2 years, they probably have a chance to refi because historical data shows us that, the average homeowner is only in a mortgage for about 5 to 7 years. So when it comes to, when you put it in terms like that in perspective, I think there's a lot out there to take advantage of right now.
Well, sure. Find the house that you love, marry the home, date the interest rate, and about a year you can probably refinance and, who knows, maybe we're back down at, 4%.
Right. One thing I did want to ask you though, and what I saw is, I saw a stat that says right now 1 in 6 home purchases is for an investor. Right now, what are your thoughts about investment properties right now in the market? Is it a good time or is it maybe not so good time?
No, I mean, it's a great time because an investor is going to be looking at the property value over a period of 10 years at least.
Right.
So, and then when you're looking at the stock market decline, I mean, who wants to invest their money in the stocks?
Right.
Go ahead and put it in real estate.
It's been a rough couple of weeks on the market.
It has been.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, that's one thing that we have seen is some of our, some of the buyers that we're talking about that have been sidelined along with investment properties. It's a great time to go out and maybe take a leap of faith that some people haven't in order to be able to buy an investment property right now. Also, the one thing that I would say too that I think is also very important is the Oklahoma market isn't necessarily the national market, I guess I would say. A lot of people that were in the business back in 2008, 2009, I don't want to date you, but I was in high school. So, but during that time, we did see that it was a little bit slower, but at the same time, it was still, not necessarily business as usual, but it definitely wasn't what other markets were experiencing. So I think that's important to keep that perspective as well. Is Oklahoma is a little bit different than what the national market, wouldn't you say?
Right. We're not California. We're not New York. We're not Florida. So historically, our values have remained fairly constant.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, yeah, I think it's a great time. With the positives to take advantage that are in the market for sellers for buyers right now. I think it's a great time. But we are looking forward to partnering with all you guys, and we thank you for your time. And feel free to reach out to us, and if we can help in any way possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.